Hi, Team Flyer. Welcome back to the Always Clear podcast. I'm your host, Ariadna, and we're back for season 4. This is our first Motivational Monday. And wowza, we're coming in. We're just gonna come like push the doors in with brand new energy, fresh new energy. And we're gonna give you a heck of a quote. One of my favorite quotes. Of course it is. Of course it is. Want to hear it? In 3, 2, 1. Life without worry. You seek Hakuna Matata. And if you know what Hakuna Matata means, you know where it's from. Obviously, we're kicking off the season with the loudest roar possible, The Lion King. I adore the quote, not only Hakuna Matata, but it's like life without worry. That's exactly what it means. You seek Hakuna Matata. And we're going to get some Rafiki wisdom in the house for this Motivational Monday and a few of, maybe mantras that I'm using and stuff that I've journaled along this year. A lot of you on TikTok have been asking, and there's so much free content there for you to, check out. So if you want more than just these weekly episodes, of course, I upload a whole lot on my TikTok with journaling, with mantras, with fun dances, a whole lot of my baby Binks, a whole lot of Disney, of course. And you can just see me a little bit more up close and personal and breaking more generational cycles and being the baddies that we know we are. I feel like that's one of my new favorite words. I mean, I've always loved the word baddie, but I've been using it more and more lately. This is also a really big mini shout out to the Wisdom Domain. They're a group of individuals that I met in September. And to whoever's listening from the Wisdom Domain, it is just, we're baddies. Like I said, I've been using the word a whole lot this year, even before I met this group of individuals who are they're just beautiful souls. They're just absolutely wonderful, and they were great to work with. And they really, really just helped me through one of the biggest weeks of my life, and they've changed my life a whole bunch. And it just reminded me that, you get what you give, and once you give love, it comes back. Like, it's just everything's energy, and love is the highest frequency. And when I met these people, I was like, just in general, when I walk through life, I'm like, I'm just gonna give love. And it's been really difficult. Like, all this lines up with the quote today. Like, you don't need to worry. You know the drill. You've been here before. You know I go on the sidelines and I ring it all back around, all the way to the main quote, the main character, the main topic, etc. So yeah, I now where was I before I was playing this? Goodness gracious me, did you all miss me? I'm sure you did. I missed you. You really get a lot more focus, I think, on my TikToks maybe, which is interesting because those are just like a lot more spontaneous than this, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna say this quote, I'm gonna say these things, and I'm like, wait, why am I talking about rainbows? I'm like, I didn't know you're always talking about rainbows and cornflakes, apparently. Goodness gracious, yeah. So I used the word baddie like a lot this year because I felt it. I feel my energy, and there's so much self love and there's so much self growth. And then, everything I do, I insert love. And I've been through a lot, like between, I did do an episode on season 3 all the way, like the pandemic, and I talked to you about that. I talked to you about all the way till May 2022. And, I've been working on myself a whole lot. I've been hermit mode, like a bear, like a summer bear, because it was summer for me. And, like in this part of the world, because I know the other part of the world it was winter. Because I do have people who follow me, and it was their winter, and I was like, oh my God. They sent me like the best snow pictures. Like, I was at the beach, and then like my followers and like Team Fly were like, we're at the, like, it's snowing, and it was like Christmas music, and I'm like, Christmas in July? Of course. Anyways, but yeah, the summer was lots of fun, and it was a lot of hermit mode, a lot of that bear hibernating mode, because I was working on myself. I'm constantly and continuously growing and working on myself in many different layers and in many different ways. And a lot of that I do explain on TikTok because, it's quick and easy and it's more of a day to day kind of vibe over there. And yeah, so I was already, vibing on the highest frequency. I was already got myself to that level, like, all right, we have these setbacks. All right, we have these little, like, I don't even know if I want to call them setbacks anymore, because I just had a kind of a mini major one back in September, right before meeting Wisdom Domain. They know exactly who they are. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't think setback has a good connotation, at least to me. So I have to find a different word for it. But, I've had a few hiccups, I guess. A few little rocks, as when I'm doing the climb, aka Miley Cyrus, one of my favorite songs. Oh, goodness. The Climb by Miley Cyrus has always been one of my favorite songs. So that's exactly how it feels. We're just getting higher and higher and higher. And it's all about the journey, not the destination, right? But within all that, I've stumbled with a lot of rocks lately and in summer, and keep pushing myself. And there's some moments in time that, yeah, that definitely did frustrate me, and that definitely did, like, it made me feel or see or just kind of spiral way back. And we'll definitely dive into that at some point of life during these conversations. But most of all, what I'm trying to say is that, like, the power that I gained, the self-love that I gained, the beautiful, wonderful feelings of empowerment. Like, I see not only my TikToks, but my selfies, my pictures of myself, my pictures when I'm with my friends, husband, doesn't matter, with my cat, with my little beautiful, wonderful black cat Binks. And I see these pictures and I'm like, that's self-love. I've learned to, like, love myself regardless of, where I'm at in the moment of life, and regardless of what my life looks like. It's like I'm here, I'm in the present, I'm living the moment. And that right there, it's so freaking powerful. And that's where the word baddie started coming in my vocabulary, to start, like, having that self of confidence and that self-belief and that self-love, and just bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. I sound like Mirabelle. What else can I do? That's what Isabel sings, and she goes, bring it in, bring it in. What else can I do? And then she goes again, bring it in for the hug. Literally, bring it in, bring it in. That's exactly what I'm saying to myself. You get me with all the Disney references, without a doubt. So, with all of those loves, it got to a moment that, even through what was supposed to be a moment of weakness, of letting go, of saying, I'm just gonna go even commit suicide. Like, we've talked about this in the previous season. We've talked about this in lives on TikToks. Like, this is a subject that's so important to me, and that where your mind has gone so low that you feel like committing suicide. Like, this is where the awareness comes from. So where in the past that was my lowest self, and something like that, when, would have happened to me, now it's like, okay, we've built that foundation because I put myself first, because I put my boundaries down, because I had to stop everything that I was doing to work on myself. And yeah, the little mini, once again, I was gonna say setback, the rock I had to climb in that particular moment in time was, my back went out again. And it was so rough. And it was like, oh my goodness gracious, what is this trying to teach me? Where am I? Like, what is happening? And from that moment onward, but like right away, it wasn't like weeks after. It's also weeks after, of course, by now. But like, at that moment, it kind of was like an instant click. Like, I am gonna get up. I'm gonna do this. I'm walking away from the past, and I'm walking away from the pain, and I'm gonna get up and do this. And I have a support system, luckily enough, with my husband. Like, he held me up so many times physically because I couldn't. And then the rest of myself, every single day, more and more and more. And this circles back to, like I keep saying, with the wisdom domain, when I met these group of beautiful individuals who were just a fresh energy and a fresh start and filled with so much love in their hearts and so much curiosity, and you can just look at them, you're like, I'm gonna love you right back. I just met you and I know I'm gonna love you right back because that's what you deserve and that's what you need. And how does that circle start? Well, that circle starts with bring it in, bring it in. What else can I do? Bring it in, bring it in. With self love and self worthiness and knowing that I'm a baddie, because knowing that I am that, I can also reflect back to other people, and that's what other people need to listen or hear in that specific moment in time. And goodness, it was one of like those weeks that was like very emotional, and it wasn't, period related or hormone related. And I'm okay talking about those things because that's not taboo, because women have their periods every month and it's a natural thing. So we're talking about it. But it wasn't that. Sometimes it is that, of course, which is fine. Sometimes my hypothyroidism because, hormones. It was more of that like soul exchange of just people being in that moment in time and teaching each other and saying, holy smokes, this is what love feels like. And then it also reminded me as a person, as my own personal self individual, that's like, I am meant for something more. So within everything that I was doing that week and in general, and everything that I was working through, and responsibilities and tasks and commutes and life mini rocks, because there were little mini rocks of like a bus strike and a festivity, but I still had to go into work and stuff like that. Within all that, I'm like, I am meant for something more and I want a bigger platform and I'm going to keep working for what I want. Working smart, not hard, that's a huge difference, but that's also a side conversation for like a totally different day, I think, or maybe later today, who knows. So within all this and with this sense of empowerment and with this sense of love, at that moment it just clicked. And going back to the main sentence of this episode, this is life without worry. You seek Hakuna Matata. And I personally seek a lot of Hakuna Matata as I go. And maybe it's a next tattoo. Who knows? One of my many, many, many. I would be tatted up. And yes, it's going to be like 90% Disney things. Yes, you already know. You already know. I already have a few Disney tattoos. I'm ready for more. But yeah, so I seek Hakuna Matata all the time. Because they're not even defects. See, these are the vocabulary words I'm constantly changing. These characteristics that I've been built with because of life circumstances, and it's not like, see, this is another change. It's not like I'm blaming someone in particular. It's like, no, it's life circumstances. The way that I was placed in that moment set in time in the past led to people reacting different ways in the best way that they could. And while we're working through that forgiveness and we're working through that, like, those set of feelings within myself, I have to realize that the survival mode of my life is gone. The working 24/7 for jobs I don't not even like nor care about, and they treat me like ugh, and then some, disgust from inside out. Has led to a lot of anger, also from Inside Out, but probably from every character of Inside Out because they're all emotions, of course. So, all these sorts of things, that kind of mode or mood or those characteristics that I was built with, I've been breaking them down little by little, day by day, day by day. And because those are still kind of somewhat wired in me, as I still break them down, that energy, I'm a fire sign and I want things done right away, and I'm just like, let's do this, let's go, like what, like it's that kind of reaction. It's like, no, Ariadna, my love, my gorgeous soul, let's breathe. You seek Hakuna Matata, life without worry. Now, I've met a whole lot of people in my life, a whole lot of people, I think everyone has. I'm a traveler. I've been a teacher. I've been a coach. I've been a mentor. I've been oh gosh, a million gazillion other things as well. And you meet people, and I'm also a very sociable person. You meet people, right? And so I've met people that do live without worry, and not because they've had a comfortable life. Like I've met people who didn't have a comfortable life and still live without worry. And that could be kind of like a Pisces thing. I've met some Pisces that are just like very chill, and you're like, how? Why? How? Teach me your ways, please. Um, that's where I'm getting at. And one of the biggest sentences that I love, that I think about often, that I write out, not, I don't write this sentence out, but something that like is on my mind. So I write mantras around the sentence. It's peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than you think it should be. So let's bring it back one more time. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than what you think it should be. And that's super duper important to grasp, to wrap your head around it, to really be like, okay, what do I have to let go of? And what I've been doing to answer that question for myself to you, I've been letting go of numbers. I've been letting go of self-hate. I've been letting go of wrongdoings from the past, both from my wrongdoings and people's wrongdoings. And let's go back to the first one I said, because the other ones are kind of self-explanatory because we've talked about them. But when I say numbers, my goodness gracious, we're freaking surrounded by numbers. And yes, I'm a language person, not a math person, but this is not me being biased. This is just, there's so much numbers in life. You need to be married by the time you're 30. You should have a house by the time you're 30. I say 30, like it could be 25 for some others, or 22, I don't know, or I need to be done with my degree by 24, or things like that, or I should weigh this exact number. We're surrounded by them. Even when it comes to time, it's like, oh my god, I'm 5 minutes late, or 5 minutes early, or I'm X amount, the way that we interact with each other, like just think about it. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, think how many times do you reference a number in your life, in your day-to-day, whether it's wait time, whether it's actual physical weight, whether it's how much something costs, whether it's the age of someone, so on and so forth, the evaluations, the grades, everything's a number. And what are numbers? What is anything? I mean, what is the universe, right? We're just a floating rock in space. That was a sentence or something like that? Point being that, like, it's insane. So, like, throughout the past few months for me, I've been letting go of my weight. Not only physically, because I'm working through it, but emotionally, like emotional weight, but also with a number what it is. This is where my self-love comes from now, because I needed to get to where I am today physically for whatever reason, but I needed to get to where I was and where I am today physically to love myself even deeper. Because I don't remember much, and I don't really know anyone who met me like in my early 20s or my teenage years at this point, or eight. Maybe I was a little vain because I thought I had the perfect body, maybe I had that kind of attitude. I don't think I was the meanest girl by any means. I don't think that was a category that would fit me in general. However, maybe I did have that somewhat some wired. Why was it wired? Because of media in general, because we're taught that we have to look a certain way and be skinny and be, all these sorts of things. So when my life completely shifted, once again, you can go back to that episode in season 3 about the pandemic and that weight gain and the way that I feel in that toxic environment, all these sorts of things started layer after layer after layer, going all the way to my back. Now this is the moment where I'm like, holy mother fudge, you know? Like, I have to reprogram and rewire myself and be so completely, like, have that huge mind shift. And that's layers on layers on. This is like Shrek. We're freaking onions. Layers on layers on layers on layers on layers of deprogramming and detoxing. Hence, the Winnie the Pooh bear hibernation mode that I've been in for a long time. And I'm ready to come out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Got to let it show. Oh. But if you know me by now, and I'm pretty sure you do, I love to sing. I cannot carry a tune. But I'm going to sing anyway because that's who I am. And yeah. Anyways. But yeah, it's like I'm realizing that, these numbers have no value. And then I'm posting these pictures of me just being a baddie and being like, I'm owning up to this. I'm working on my way. I am going through rehab because of my back. And I am doing XYZ to get better. Because you see me, and because I'm also very real in sharing that process with you, because I know so many other people who feel so ashamed by it. I'm like, no, our body's supposed to fluctuate. It's supposed to do that. You're not wearing the same thing you're wearing when you were a baby. You're not wearing the same thing you were when you were 5, nor 15, nor 45 if you're older than 45, nor 65. You know what I mean? Like, it is absolutely normal. It's also normal for us to realize that the way that we look physically is the way that we feel with ourselves. And that doesn't mean like every big curvy person feels bad about themselves. No, this is not where the conversation is going. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, if that's what you think, exit. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day. No, where the conversation is going is that you gotta embrace who you are with your body. And one of my biggest inspirations in life is Lizzo. And if you know anything about Lizzo, you know that she raises big girls up, and you know the big girls that she raises up and lifts and cheers and like demonstrates to the world, they're the baddest, the bestest, the most flexible, that has the most energy. Like, those baddies are fit no matter what they look like. And that's where it comes from. That's where it stems from. So going back to all that inner work that I've been doing, and all the sorts of things with the issue of numbers, in this case, another example I have is evaluations. Not only when you're a kid you get evaluated, depending on what country you're from, it's either through letters, but usually I think for most of the world, if I'm not mistaken, or a lot of places that I've traveled to, is usually by numbers, from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, which is basically the same thing. And not only do kids get graded in that kind of way, especially when they're very little and you're kind of too little to like be graded in such a way. But once again, that's another side conversation, but that's also where it stems from. But also a lot of places of work give you an evaluation, and you give those numbers a meaning. But why are you giving a number like 9.8 a meaning? Why is 9.8 different than a 6.2? Than a 1.2? Like, who gave you those ratings? Who gave you that? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have 0 for not good and 10 for the best? In a lot of occasions, it's the other way around as well, from what I've seen. The higher it is, the worse it is, and the lower it is, the better it is. So, once again, like everything else in life, it's all relative. And yeah, you can rate a restaurant and a hotel and a movie theater and things like that. And that does help society and products, you know? It does help, especially nowadays, and it's definitely like something that I look into. But I'm also very subjective because I know it's all relatives and I go off by vibes. I'm like, okay, we'll see, you know? So within all that, the fact that we get rated in so many different ways, I'm just like, that's it. I'm done with numbers. Not in a math kind of way, of course, but just in that kind of sense. because I want to get to that Pisces mindset. Because a lot of the Pisces I know, it's like very chill. It's like the life without worry. It's like, who cares? You know you're doing your best. You know your worth. You know that you bring the gosh darn table. You know what I mean? So as I wrap the super first episode up, one of the best things about this quote, and I'll definitely go in centering through, Hakuna Matata, aka the Lion King, aka in this case, Rafiki. To continue his quote is, the past has already happened. It is simply a memory and a feeling now. It's up to you to process that feeling. Scars do heal, and so do you. And that's super duper important for us to remember. And as someone who often thinks about the past and the wrongdoings of behaviors and the what ifs, that took a lot of rewiring. That took a lot of deprogramming for me to do, to be like, okay, the past is done. Like, literally, it's gone. The future does not exist, because anything can happen. So where are we right now? So what is important is to say, okay, obviously you can't change the past because it already happened. It's a memory. But most of all, it's a feeling. And like it says, it's up to you to process that feeling. And that's what I've been doing. I've been processing my feelings, because as I process, I heal. And as I process, I thrive. And as I process, I continue forward. But most of all, I continue to be more present. And that's something I'm definitely learning, to be more present. And scars do heal, and so do you. The amount of times that we've had sits all over our faces. Do you still have marks? I mean, I know some of you might say, yes, I still have marks. Okay, but you know what I mean? The sit is long gone. The scar does heal. It's not like you're constantly bleeding, right? From that sit. So scars do heal, and so do you. And with this, with everything that I've been saying, I do want to say, don't rush something you want to last forever. It takes time to build proper foundations of all sorts and areas. And that's exactly what I've been doing with this. That's exactly what I've been creating. It takes time to love yourself, to heal. We're constantly doing that, but it also takes time to have some fun and get out there and just do something fun, please. It's not all about just healing 24/7. When you're having fun, you're also healing, by the way. That's a nice reminder for both of us. It takes time to build proper foundations. It's okay if you don't have it all figured out, because that's not the end goal. It's okay if you're not married by 30, if you don't have a partner by 25, if you aren't graduated by 22. It's all relative. It's so completely relative, because that's not the end goal, to have it all figured out. And I keep seeing these TikToks. I have friends of all ages, and I see a lot of different trends or sounds being used. It's like, oh my God, I'm 20. It's like your 20s are, you don't have to figure out. You're like really confused. And I validate those feelings. I understand those feelings. But you're still going to have them at age 30, and you're still going to have them at age 40. And so forth, because no one really has it figured out, because there is no blueprint for life. Because even if you look around the next room that you walk in with a whole bunch of people, their life is completely different than yours. Yeah, you might have gone to the same school or the same city, or even have some of the same friends, but your life looks completely different, because there is no blueprint. The goal of life is to take your time learning these lessons and continue to enjoy the healing journey every day. That's what it is. And that's what, for me, 2022 is all about. And that's what life is all about. Like, I've always been this way. Going back to the wisdom domain group that I've met, this group of extraordinary human beings, they were a clear reminder of my essence, of what I came onto this world to do. Who am I, and how I'm going to help others. And it goes beyond just teaching a language, which was my job for many, many years. That's why I have that example. It's learning these lessons and continuing to enjoy the healing journey, because that's always the essence of who I was. Throughout all my years, every single time, I know myself. I've always had stuffed animals. I've always loved Disney. I've always let my inner child play. Through many years of therapy, I started my journey through therapy through my late teens. I started at my late teens, better said. All the way to now. I mean, it's constant. And like I was saying before, your feelings, your thoughts, your ideas are all valid, no matter the age. You are worthy, you are loved, whatever you're feeling, it's absolutely okay. Remember, glorious things take a while to build. And you, Team Flyer, you, dear Flyer, are building yourself just right. If you are here right now, all the way to the end of this episode, because we're definitely wrapping up, and you've been listening, even if it's just your first episode, you're here because you want to better yourself. You're here listening to these messages, not because Ariadna told you these messages. You're listening to these messages because somewhere in your path, the universe, whoever you believe in, no pun intended this time, case around, lined you up to this moment to hear this message. And that is the best gift you can give yourself. The gift of wellness for your mind, body, and soul. The gift of touching in and like reaching in down to your soul and your heart and tapping into yourself. Because the more you know yourself, the more you love yourself, the more confident you are, the better life gets. And it's a journey, and it's a ride, and it's difficult because we're told otherwise. But we have people like me and our community of Team Flyer, and you best look around people in your life to raise you up and lift you higher, because that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. So let's let go of the past. Let's go of I want it all now, and where is it, and I'm this age, and I'm supposed to be. Let's surrender. Okay, surrendering. I feel like I need a whole episode for surrendering, because that's some hard-ish right there. We need to be, and we need to know the foundation is being built. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so extraordinarily proud of you. For you are here today. Showing up for yourself. Listening. Breathing. Understanding. And going one step further into helping yourself become a better human being. And I'm going to get emotional. I know. I know I'm a period. I know it's the hyperthyroidism, like I keep saying. It's because we're such an incredible community. So take the first step. This is the first step, but take a bigger first step. That leap of faith. And talking about faith, one of my last Disney references is from one of my all-time favorites, Peter Pan himself with Tinkerbell, because you know I love fairies. I adore fairies way more than I adore Cotafox. And you're like, what's Cotafox? It's a fire run typical here in Catalonia, in this region of Spain. I should put some pictures also. But it's an ongoing joke. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite traditions. But going to the Disney quote from Peter Pan is, all you need. I know you know the ending. I know you know the ending of this quote. I can just feel it. I know there's so many of you who finished the quote. All you need is some faith and trust. And he says it that way too. The song You Can Fly by Peter Pan, I was about to sing it. You can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. That one. All you need is some faith and trust and a little bit of pixie dust. He says it something like that. Oh, goodness gracious. What a feel, what a vibe, emotional ride. My last 2 cents. what I love about meeting that group of people, and yeah, I'll talk to them and see if they're able to, like, if I can tell you who they are, because I'm just keeping their life private, but with the wisdom domain. It's interesting because right now, every time I talk and make these, one-to-one personal, me, myself, and I podcast episodes like this one, I know they're not on YouTube right now. I'm switching on and off. I'm just between moving and boxes and life, and bear with me with what you got, and thank you for the patience. But point being, since I'm just here talking to myself, looking at my banks and my journals, I'm actually visualizing them, at least one of them. So it feels like I'm actually talking to a person. So the fact that they've impacted me, their impact has left a mark on me. I feel like I'm talking to them and they're like in the room with me because I've met them and we've hugged and we've cried together, and it's like, here. It's like if they're right in front of me, so it's really, really nice, and it just makes me emotional because it's like this is what we're here to do. All right, let's wrap it up. Last and definitely not least, the quote one more time: life without worry, you seek Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no laugh and praise, something like that, right? It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Alright, I'm so gonna jam out and like blast the song all day and all the time. And I listen to Disney a lot, but this song I haven't heard in a while, so definitely gonna get the vibes with this one. How do you live life? Hakuna Matata. How can you bring more Hakuna Matata into your life? That's this week's questions. I can live more in the present. I can have more of my inner child come out. And I can, what I've been working on, just trust the universe. Just trust it. It puts you in the right place at the right time. And it may sound cheesy, we're done, but it's so freaking true. Because I'm here today, aren't I? And I know I'm in the right place at the right time. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here, Team Flyer, in this beautiful first episode of Season 4 of the Always Bleeder podcast. I am your host, Ariadna, and I am a baddie. And I remind you to Hakuna Matata. And of course, to hug tighter, love stronger, always believe. Love you to infinity and beyond. Till next time. Bye, Team Flyer.